decisive, strong, lead from the front, make decisions, direct, delegate, assign, empathize, coach, invest, collaborate, grow. We've got two different word categories here, two different ways of describing leadership. One of them is traditionally masculine. I don't mean male, I mean masculine, as in words that are associated with masculinity. The other is traditionally feminine, words associated with femininity. Maybe ways you might think about a general leading a charge versus a teacher growing a student. Here's the problem. In many of our organizations, especially in the US, where I've spent my whole life, our expectation of managers has been the masculine form of leadership. And that is the one that we emulate, the one that we respect, the one that we revere. And we want our managers to lead the way, to make decisions, to take charge, to execute, to deliver. One of the issues we're having is as we're trying to move to a flatter, more egalitarian, more developer-led organization as part of Agile transformations, that fundamentally changes the need for that kind of leadership. Those kinds of skills and that kind of leadership, we're expecting to see more from people doing the work and from our product owners. And even then, we're not looking for that to be their only or even primary way of leading. Our managers and the role they're moving into is aligned more with the feminine aspects of leadership, or those feminized words. So that means that we're moving from I decide to I invest in you so you can decide. From I execute to I grow people who are able to execute. Those are very, very significant shifts. And one of the problems we're having, I fear, is that the masculine form of leadership is considered exciting and strong, and the feminine form of leadership is considered passive and weak. And we know that is not true, but we also know that we all grew up with conditioning in our brains that tells us things that aren't true. Experiences and examples and culture all around us that leads us to have certain feelings that maybe if we thought really hard about them, we wouldn't have, but nonetheless, they're there. I suspect this is the case because here are the things I hear from managers when we are laying out the future of management and what we're looking for them to do and how we're asking them to move from deciders to coaches, from executors that lead from the front to gardeners that are like growing people so that they can do great things and investing in them. I hear things like this. I don't want to be a glorified therapist. I don't want to be a cheerleader. I don't want to be a nurse or a caretaker or a nanny for my employees. I want to still be able to code, be able to decide, be able to own some aspect of it where I'm still getting to lead from the front. And I worry about that immensely because here is what has been happening, at least my entire career. It has been very rare for me, for my manager to be investing in me as a person. And I have stayed with companies I've been with a very long time. And at the companies I work at, people stay there a very long time. And that means we need to invest in people because we are hiring potential and we are hiring attitude and capacity and capability. But in order to keep up, especially with changing technology, but to keep up over a long career with a place, we must be investing in those people and growing them to be more independent, more capable, more able to make wise decisions. We need to invest experience into them. We need to constantly be driving them to improve and giving them opportunities to find ways to build on top of their strengths and get even stronger. For most of my career, I've had to do that myself. And I've lucked into a few mentors and I've lucked into a few really good managers who did it, but it often felt like they were going above and beyond their role to do that rather than that being their primary role. And so what we end up with is a whole generation of developers that know only an inch more than they knew the day they graduated from college. And what they've learned kind of on the job from doing stuff. And if they've only really had one job, that's all they've learned. And they have not grown to understand the business or great communication skills, or how to think 10 steps ahead, or how to see big systems and trade-offs. So it's no wonder then that when we try to move to an agile model and say, hey, managers, let go, they say, I can't. My developers aren't mature enough. Well, why haven't they matured? These people have been in these roles for 20, 30, sometimes 40 years. Why are they still immature? And it's because we've revered this masculine form of leadership, this lead from the front, and completely pushed back on that supportive, nurturing, growing form of leadership. And I don't normally want to get terribly political in my posts, and I don't think this is political, but some may feel it is. But I want to call this out because I think if we don't address that this bias is there, we as coaches and change agents can't apply the proper levers. If we have people that identify themselves with this lead from the front general mentality, and we're asking them to change the way they identify themselves to be more coach, therapist, cheerleader, and they are reacting viscerally to that, there might be a little bit of learned misogyny there that we're going to have to figure out what to do with. And it's hard to adjust because you don't want, I don't think people are consciously doing this, but I think it's still happening. And we're going to do ourselves a great disservice if we do not do something about it, because our developers are degrading, not upgrading. And we need to stop that now, because software is becoming too important to the world for us to let developers continue to be dictated to. They must learn, they must grow, they must be invested in, and somebody has to do that.